What problems do we have with women in games? Let's go. Let's see if I agree.
And it just makes you wonder, because if certain games let you create characters with so much charm and magnetism, why can't games with dedicated female leads do the same thing? Well, what are some of the more recent female leads that we've been graced with? I think about Frey from Forspoken. She can fight dragons, and
I think that she's attractive. I do. I think people are porn-brained if they don't think that she's attractive.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, she's an attractive woman, sure.
At least in that image, she's attractive.
bend the laws of physics and literally parkour across dimensions. That's super cool. But for some reason, they gave her the most awkward dialogue and had her deliver every line like she was on hold with customer service. On mute. What about Kay Vess from Star Wars Outlaw?
Can't say the same.
This already, personally, I think every person can be attracted or not attracted by all sorts of types. So, whatever. Yeah, I don't find her particularly attractive either, but maybe someone will. I don't know. But let's continue.
She's a scrappy space outlaw, in theory. In practice, she kind of just plays like she just respawned from a bug and isn't sure where she is or why she's there. Okay, well, what about female Ivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla? Actually,
she looks awesome.
Was canonically the real one. But you probably wouldn't know that because even Ubisoft was like, dang, that's crazy. Anyway, check out this guy's beard.
Yep,
or
of course.
Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Ooh.
This game was like 10 years in the oven and somehow it still came out.
Well, it got overcooked. That's the problem. The reason why
I agree, but then again, you know that I can't stand Dragon Age Veilguard, so there is that.
they have these issues is because it's built off of a false reality that men and women are interchangeable, and the way that they approach life, struggles, issues, and the way that they think are the same. And the big problem is that they're not. So when you take a male character and then you replace it with a female character, and then you give it the same intuitions, the same impulses, and the same responses that a male character would have, it's off-putting and weird because men and women are different. Their roles in society are different.
So far, I'm going to say so good. I didn't hear anything particularly hateful. I didn't see any. I think what he said is correct. I do want to say that just as a little minutia, when he says, of course, there are biological differences between male and females, that's a fact. For example, when it comes to overall strength percentage and all of that kind of stuff and proclivities, there are outliers. But in general, when we talk about averages, the cultural aspect is a little less cut and dry in the sense that depending on the culture, gender roles will vary slightly. If you take, like, for instance, feudal Japan or even modern Japan, and you compare it to gender roles in the West, or you compare it to gender roles in a Muslim country, then they differ. But with that being said, I agree with him. Up to this point, I think is correct.
And weird because men and women are different. Their roles in society are different. They're different down to, again, a chromosomal level, and everything about them is different. So you can't just simply replace a male and a female protagonist in a narrative-based game and expect the story to be told the same way.
Sure.
That's the reason.
That's a fine take with me. It's a fine take.
It often felt cringy instead of charming, and there really wasn't much mystery, but there was a lot of lecturing. And instead of emotionally rich companions, we kind of just got chronically online Twitter bios and fantasy outfits. I think you get the point, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We need female characters with range, with presence, with a little drama, if you will. The girls who made you feel something were not perfect. They were messy and charismatic and complicated in the best way. Sadie Adler from
there's like, I mean, look at Expedition 33, right? I mean, all of those female characters are very well written.
Do you agree? Because I haven't played Expedition 33, so now we kind of moved from what could be considered a political take to a gaming take. I have heard a lot of people saying Expedition 33 is good. Do you guys agree? Because we are not here just to talk about culture war. We're here to talk about games.
I think the problem is that, I think this is my opinion, is that I think a lot of female writers try to write female characters in opposition to what a female character has traditionally been. And so in writing a character in opposition of what was the normal female character design, what ends up happening is that you're not creating any. It's like kind of like a card, right? And so like a card like can't stand up by itself. It has to be leaning against another card. So they write this personality to lean up against the old personality of one-dimensional boob characters, and that's it. And so if you take one of these away, they both fall apart. And that's because neither of these different things can stand on their own at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would like to only provide a caveat. I don't think it's a lot of women writers that do this. I think it's mostly activists, the ones that do it in the craziest sense, such as Dragon Age Veilguard. But everything he said, based. He did not say anything wrong. Also, I would like to say, I don't know if he's like this on every single video, but up to this point, the people that say, oh, he's stealing content because he lets the video play, then he pauses, says, yeah, and then starts again. To me, this actually seems like quite transformative in nature. He's adding quite a lot. I don't know if he does it every time, but for this video so far, that's an incorrect take. Now, he's providing sufficient commentary for this to be, at least from a legal perspective, transformative in nature for fair use cases.
You already have multiple examples, like Ripley is a great example of this. There's multiple examples of female characters and stories that I think are written relatively well, but you have to write them in a way that's true to the female experience to an extent, and understand that they are not an interchangeable unit with a man. And I think that the more that you write women and you do it with a chip on your shoulder as if, no, she's not going to be the princess that gets saved, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like you're not writing to tell a story, you're writing to prove something.
Dead too?
He's correct. There are exceptions. I think a good, strong woman that they did create, and I think they did it fantastic, they did a great job, is Samus from Metroid, even back in the day. I just think the reason why that works is because she was not written, like he's saying, because they were trying to push a message. She was written out of a creative liberty that was trying to craft a story because they loved the idea, and also it made sense within the sci-fi context because she's using her power armor to be able to achieve what she's achieving. So it makes logical sense. I'm not seeing a girl that has a wrist of this size taking on 3 monsters of men in combat. I'm seeing something that makes logical sense within its situation, and she's beautifully written, and I really like Samus. Is one of my favorite female characters. Another one is Chun-Li. I have no problems with Chun-Li. So I think, as he says, I agree with him. The problem is when it happens because the writer has a chip on the shoulder that's trying to push a message, and you can see it. We can see it right through them.
Her husband literally dies, and she goes, cool, I'm going feral now. And grieving? Yes. Stunning? Yes. Horse girl? Absolutely. But I would let her run
There's plenty of examples of that in history, like Boudica, right? Like, that's the first one I can think of. I mean, it's a messy history, right?